Our brand of democracy is hard, but I can promise that a year from now, when I no longer hold this office, I'll be right there with you as a citizen, inspired by those voices of fairness and vision, of grit and good humor and kindness that have helped America travel so far. Meaning, democracy actually has always had its own distinction, character, significance, identity, morality, and other virtues about itself, at least in its philosophization and also in its theory, in the textbookish and educational sense, if not in the real, practical, actual sense, in its real application. But democracy also has always had its own problems, difficulties, complexities, chaos, dangers, and manipulations that have been regularly and intentionally and deliberately dismissed, overlooked, and refused by most people in the world, and particularly by politicians, so that they can bring in and they can develop this form of government over the people and ultimately establish dictatorship, corruption, exploitation, manipulation over each and every one of us in the world. They wanted to create democracy so that they can also develop and breed violence, corruption, poverty, inflation, unemployment, discrimination, manipulation, injustice against each and every one of us that's essentially living in a democratic state society country. So we've been cheated, we've been lied to, and this was a fraud all this time because democracy is difficult. So it's one thing in practice and another thing in theory. Now, democracy is theoretically and in a bookish educational sense sounds good, wise, intelligent, rational, moral, fair, and virtuous. But in practice, in reality, it becomes something else entirely because democracy ultimately in the modern society has become the playground of the sharks, the billionaires, capitalists, influencers, media journalists that are already biased, sold out, and that are controlling the politics by basically purchasing the politicians with money, possession, wealth, riches, etc. Because the politics have already been sold out. The politicians are in the billionaires' pockets. So this is elitism, globalism, materialism, Marxism at its peak. And there is no democracy at all in reality. There is no architecture of justice, morality, fairness, liberty in the society. All that there is corruption, misbehavior, absence of rule, order, principle, and only chaos, confusion, disorder, and the list just goes on. So obviously, modern democracy is hijacked, penetrated, infiltrated by outside malicious forces and authorities of bureaucracy, capitalism, and the ruling class also is involved in this infiltration